Hello. Welcome to Fireside Chat with Kimberly. It is Monday again, and guess what? It is Earth Week. Yay. Thank you so much for being here tonight. If you're joining via replay, please, and you have some questions or comments that you'd like to have answered, make sure that you post them over in my Facebook, on my Facebook page so that I can respond to those. Um, Thank you to Terra Seed, the sponsor for this week's talks. Prize packs for this month's contest have been graciously donated by Hodo Foods, Follow Your Heart, Cinnaholic, Revolution Gelato, Terra Seed, Fabulous, Rebel Cheese, and our newest, Veg Key. So head on over to virtualvegfest.com, click on the contest tab for details, and get entered in this amazing wish pond. That is 8 different prize packs that you will be eligible to win. That is pretty cool. So, hello and welcome. Like I said, it's Earth Week, and I am so excited. I actually started blogging about it yesterday, and I will be posting a blog every single day about something related to Earth Day and Earth Week. Try to get people on board and ready to make some changes uh, to make the world a better place. So, first, of course, is to go vegan, right? Of course, here on Virtual Veg Fest Live, we're going to talk about going vegan and how that is a good thing to do for the planet. And by the way, excuse me, I am still coughing a bit. It hasn't been as bad as it was last week, so we'll see how it goes. Hey, Diane, thanks so much for being here tonight. Glad to have you. So pardon me if I have to mute a few times. Feel free to fill in that time with some comments. Um, so of course, first and foremost, I want to encourage anyone who isn't already vegan to maybe explore going vegan in honor of Earth Day. It'll be a really easy vegan anniversary to remember if you go vegan on Earth Day. So why not spend the next few days getting prepared for that and then do it on Friday? Cool way to kick off your weekend. So of course, you know, consuming animals is really terrible for the planet. Between the and it's not just like everybody likes to make the comment, like, well, not everybody because non-vegans, but non-vegans like to comment like, oh, it's just, the burps and the farts of cows. It can't really be that much of an impact. But it's not just burps and farts from cows. It's also it's released into the air from the open lagoons, the waste pits, right? What is that doing to the air quality? What is that doing to the water in those communities? People who live downwind from pig factories, the factory, the pig factories suffer all kinds of, respiratory ailments. So if that is damaging to our lungs, it's also damaging to the Earth's lungs, right? I also, oh my gosh, it's so much worse than I thought it was going to be. I haven't been talking that much. I guess I hadn't realized um, that I would still cough so much. Uh, you know what's funny? I'm sorry to jump all over the place, but when I was doing some research, I was looking at a bunch of different articles about Earth Day and veganism. And in all of that was 12 picnic friendly snacks for Earth Day. So that sounds cool, except out of 12, 2 were vegan, kale chips and sun tea. The other 10 were loaded with animal products. Hey, Patricia, thanks for being here. Glad you can make it. Um, Loaded with, from every animal flesh you could think of, plus cheese, and even using animals in like dressings and stuff. The disconnect is pretty significant, right? You want to celebrate Earth Day and you want to involve food because who doesn't, right? You want to spend all day out picnicking or whatever. Um, and then to have food made from animal products It's just there it's hard when you're on this side, right? And those of us who are watching, you guys who are watching who are vegan, we see it and we go, "Oh my god, like how are they not making the connection?" But isn't it something how many people still have not made that connection where they're not seeing how harmful using animals is to the environment. So what do we do instead? Well, I kicked off by saying go vegan. 100%. Go vegan. So that's not just what you're eating, right? We've talked about that a zillion times on here in the last year. Veganism is your entire lifestyle. People can follow a plant-based diet that doesn't make them vegan. They might be, but we can't assume that when someone says I'm plant-based. Um, and so we want to stop consuming animals. We want to stop using animals in all aspects of our lives because animals that are raised to be used for clothing, things like that, are also contributing to, that entire process also contributes to the breakdown of our environment. And I'll touch on that a little bit too. Um, Patricia, you're so right. This is for sure the hardest thing. It's one thing when you're talking to someone who isn't vegan and maybe they haven't had the exposure that we have to certain things and they don't know really how bad it is. But when they do know, maybe they've seen the documentaries, maybe they have a friend in their life who's vegan and talks to them about it. Maybe they've read some books and they still just see it almost like, well, it's my choice, right? And they're not considering who else is involved in that, the lives that are taken and the destruction that this whole, food system and the raising of animals causes to our environment. They're still able to put themselves first, and whether it's convenience, whether they have separated that emotion and they're like, I don't care, whatever it is, it is disturbing. Patricia, you're so right. Diane, I know. How many times have you heard this? This is probably almost as common as the where do you get your protein question. Like almost. I have heard the, well, if we stop eating animals, won't there be then too many animals in the world? And then like they'll outnumber us. And what do we do then? Then we'll have to eat them, right? But that's not how it works. Anyone who has has any idea about supply and demand would know that as the demand goes down, it's not because remember, these animals are commodities to these companies. They are not living sentient beings where the companies have concern for them. They are seen only as dollar signs. So, if the demand is dropping, the companies are not going to continue to raise more animals, costing them money. If they start seeing that there's a deficit, they're going to reduce the supply. So there will be less animals born into the animal agriculture system. Now, that's not happening yet, but we have to keep trying and keep pushing so that it does. Yeah, it's crazy how many times I've heard that too, Diane. Thanks for sharing that. It gives me a good chuckle every time. So, so I encourage all of us who are already vegan, right, to keep talking about it and to do some research and share what we find, especially as Earth Day approaches. A lot of people get really excited about Earth Day. They think about the environment. People, they love being able to be out in, at a park and amongst the trees and maybe, hiking in the woods and seeing some wildlife. I've seen many a non-vegan out on a hike and just stop and like just blown away or in awe of like a bird that soars by or like a mama deer and her babies, and they just don't understand that the animals that are on their plate, they have those same bonds. They have the same interest in living that these wild animals do, that so many people find themselves like taken by, right? And they want to stop and take a bunch of pictures. And It makes them smile. So we have to try to find ways to help people make the connection. Um, I decided that I would start blogging this week, and every day I've been doing a blog um, every day this month as part of a challenge that I'm part of. But this week will be specific to Earth Day related things. And so yesterday I talked about plastics, and today I talked about fast fashion. So we're going to talk about those things here tonight too. Um, and then of course, the big wind up on Friday's post will be about going vegan. But in there's so much to learn. So, people here's another thing, another argument that we as vegans get, right? Especially when we're talking about the environment, um, is that, well, vegans eat almonds and they eat avocados. And don't these crops use so much water? Isn't California in danger already? And then, trying to grow almond trees is just making it worse. Yes, those crops do use a lot of water. However, um, 1 pound of beef to create 1 pound of beef, raise a cow to create that, uses the same amount of water as if you stopped, as if from you showering every day for 6 months. So if you stopped showering every day for 6 months, you would save the same amount of water that is used to create 1 pound of beef. That's insane. That is not a good use of water. And there are areas in our country, in the US, where people don't have access to clean water. Flint, Michigan, hello. And Flint is not the only place, but and then there are other countries where people don't have access to clean water because the water is being um, diverted to raising animals that they then export, or they export the meat from, so that that the haves in that country can have more money and they control the food. So the food also isn't distributed amongst the people who live in the areas where animals are raised. So they are suffering both in not having access to clean water and also not having food that is being raised right in their backyard. So we have people around the world who are starving, right? So there are areas of the world where uh, you know, farmland and forest land are being raised so that either animals can graze there, or crops being used to feed animals will grow there. So if you look at so PETA has a little thing on their website about how much a vegan saves in resources every single day. So in one day, a vegan saves 1,100 gallons of water, nearly 40 pounds of grain. Think about all the people we could feed with that grain that's not going to animals, right? And 30 square feet of forested land is not taken down per vegan. But like, think about all of the grain that is fed and the soy that is fed to animals who are then slaughtered to be sold for food. I mean, I think you could find it anywhere that we could very likely end world hunger if we could stop giving that grain to animals and feeding it directly to people, and allowing people to have dominion over their land and able to actually grow their own food and take care of their own people, and not have these large corporations coming in, and these governments that are taking land away from people, and they don't even have access to the food that is grown there. All right. So we can talk about plastics, and I have some ideas outside of going vegan of some things that we can do, but I really want to encourage everyone watching who isn't vegan to really consider it. And if you have questions, just reach out to me. I'll share some links to a bunch of stuff at the end, including how to get in touch with me. But so that's number one. Go vegan. Number two, I want to talk about plastics. So we have here in New Jersey, as of May 4th, there'll be a ban on all single-use plastic bags in like grocery stores and restaurants. There's also been a plastic straw ban kind of in place, but that is officially in effect as of November. But places are starting to phase those out as well, uh, because plastic doesn't break down, and it'll take, I don't know, thousands of years, I think, in order for plastic to, if it even can, like, return to Earth. And we uh we use so much plastic. Like, think about all the plastic water bottles. I can't believe that that is still a thing, but it is. It's really convenient, and that's what people are concerned about, right? They want things to be convenient. But um, I would encourage you to carry your own water bottle. And a lot of places actually have, either water filtration or something where you can refill your water bottle. Oh yeah, and paper bags too. Thanks, Diane. So grocery stores also will no longer have paper bags available either. So you have to make sure that you bring your own reusable bag. And I would encourage you to keep those bags everywhere. Keep a bunch in your car, get, at least one that folds up small enough to put in your purse or in a jacket pocket, um, or in a bag that you carry, so you always have at least one reusable bag with you. It's super super helpful. You have to be prepared, especially as states start to ban the single-use plastic and the paper bags. Um, And it's not just grocery stores. You want to have these bags available to you everywhere, any store that you go into, even if they aren't part of a single-use plastic ban. Like, why not? If you already have the bag with you, and it's becoming more common, so if people are feeling nervous about, going into a place with their own reusable bag, like, it's becoming more common and people aren't surprised by it. So if there's some kind of social anxiety around that, certainly want to be sensitive to it, but I want, people to really be conscious of the fact that it's not a weird thing anymore. No one is ever surprised, I think, to see someone bringing their own bags in any shop or store. um, Also, what about single-use utensils for people who have, if you're traveling to work, if you're in an office, or if you're out, traveling in your car a lot for work, or uh, single-use utensils are so common because, they're convenient, right? Just like the bottles, and you just throw them away after you're done. But they're really cool, like bamboo utensils you can get, and they even come in their own little like pouch so that you can keep them all together. They're really easy to wash. But if you don't want to buy something new, and so anytime you need something, but you don't have to buy it new, that's always a good thing, right? Because we're not creating more waste in the environment. Definitely look at maybe your own silverware drawer. Do you have any silverware that you don't really use at home? Maybe it doesn't match your set, or whatever, or it's just extra, and you can kind of package those to become your travel utensil set. And then you just keep them in your handbag, or in your laptop bag, your backpack, whatever it is that you carry usually. And anytime you're getting lunch on the go, or something like that, you're able to use utensils that aren't generating more garbage, and they probably will become a really fun conversation starter too, so maybe you'll make some friends as well, if that's what you're looking for. um, who doesn't want more friends? Okay, Patricia, we've been using our own bags except for the last 2 years. Yeah, I'm sure that COVID made all of that weird. I remember even here in New Jersey, even though there wasn't a ban on plastic, people had been bringing their own grocery bags, their own reusable bags to the store, and they did put a stop to it. And you weren't allowed. You had to use the plastic bags. Um, oh, cool. Thanks, Diane. So you can also get compostable utensils. So I guess if you're in an environment where you can't where you don't have, you can't use utensils that you would need to like wash off or whatever. Um, then a compostable utensil would be a great idea as well. I like that. Thank you. And straws too. You know, I'm sure many of you have seen this meme, but if not, it's about people will stop eating what did they say? Stop eating fish to no, they'll stop using straws to save the fish, but they won't stop eating fish to save the fish. I think that's it. But you'd be surprised how many people are upset by not having a plastic straw available to them. When Starbucks changed their tops to be drinkable for like their iced coffees and stuff, um, people are still asking for straws because they don't like, I guess, drinking from that top. Um, and then paper straws, they paper straws they're not there. They just disintegrate, not like into your beverage, but it just becomes all limp and it just is not. I mean, who wants that, right? So you can get metal straws. I actually have two. I have one that's just a standard metal straw. It's got a little bend at the top. That's always nice. And you can use it for like cold beverages, and it's great. And they're super easy to clean. You can get one of those tiny little like wire brushes, and you just run some water and some soap, clean them out, and it's really easy to keep them clean. The other one I have is for hot beverages, and it actually has a little screen at the bottom, like a little filter thingy, where you can brew your coffee or tea right in your mug. So now we don't even need like compostable tea bags. We can just put the loose tea right into a mug. So we don't have to like make a whole pot. We can just put the tea right into the mug. You put your straw in there, and it's metal straw and has a silicone thing at the top so you're not burning your mouth as you're drinking the hot liquid. And you're also, you're not drinking any of the loose tea leaves. And that was amazing. My husband actually found that, and we each have one, and they're fantastic. I love it. I love it so much. And they're easily transportable. They come in their own little pouch, and some straws even like fold up if you need to one that's really small, maybe to keep in your pocket. You can get ones that fold up and they have like a tiny little case. It's really cool the amount of reusable things that you can find in order to stop generating waste, with these single use items. Oh, very cool, Diane. I like that. 'Cause those are they probably come in fun colors too, right? You can always with the silicone always coming in fun colors. Um, and today I wrote about fast fashion. So here's another thing, and it connects to the plastic. And this is something I just learned is doing this research for the blog. Polyester, every time you wash fabric, a polyester fabric, it actually breaks down into microplastic. And microplastic is everywhere now, from glitter to the breakdown of polyester. And when it gets into the water, it because it's shiny, like glitter, it confuses some marine life, and it looks to them like fish eggs the way the sun hits it, and so they'll consume this uh, microplastic, and obviously that means that their bellies are full because they have something like they've consumed something, so they're thinking they're not hungry. So they're not going to eat when actual fish eggs show up. So they can end up malnourished. Also, it can create blockages, obviously, can be fatal. And, you know, as most animals, if you don't feel well, having sex is not on your mind, right? And so animals are likely to reproduce less, which can lead to a decline in certain species if they aren't doing it because their bellies are full of microplastic. So it's so much more than just like garbage floating in the ocean. Like, oh, doesn't that suck? This beautiful blue water is, there's plastic floating in it. Like, it's so much more than just the aesthetic of it all. The animals that they don't have a choice but to live in that water, they can't escape it. And we just continue to create things that fill our oceans with garbage. It's really scary. And it's really sad, but it's also powerful when we start to learn these things, because then that means that we get to make choices about what we do and how we show up every single day. Um, Talking about fast fashion, these clothes are made poorly with subpar materials that use a ton of water, and they're made by people who are severely underpaid, including children. uh you know it's just like the whole thing is just so heartbreaking. And these pieces of clothing, because they are made so poorly, they're not made to last, and that's the intention. I saw something that said, like, "Make, take, waste." So, they make the thing, you wear it, like, 3 times before there's a huge hole in it or something, it starts to fall apart, the seams are coming undone, and then you just throw it away. And that's the intention. Gotta stay in season, right? Gotta be in style. No, no. Our Mother Earth is much more important than having the most up-to-date blouse or whatever it is. Um, and there are sustainable brands. Of course, the clothing is more expensive because that low cost labor is not being used, because the quality of the fabrics and the process to make them, is a better process, and the quality is better. So what you want to do is you want to find clothing you love that will last a long time. And so, I have a bunch of suggestions in my blog, and I will link to it before I sign off. But things like, you want to be able to repurpose things too. So if you think that you're bored with what you've been wearing lately, you can still mix it up by changing the way you wear something, maybe a different combination, things like that. And you can also, check out like secondhand stores, and because we want to stop with the creating of more, in addition to not throwing things away. So maybe you gather up some stuff that either is no longer your size or no longer your style, and you take it to a secondhand store, and then you can shop there. So now you're not creating waste, and you're not requiring anything new to be made. um, you may also want to give to charities that sell the clothing, not shred them and turn them into, stuffing or insulation. They sell the clothing so that it gets repurposed, so people are able to wear, to find, good clothing at lower cost. And also then we're not adding to the waste and creation cycle. And then now that, people are starting to get together more often, and more freely, things like a clothing swap, can be a really fun thing to do with your friends or within your community, where everyone brings clothes that they are not wearing anymore and they are just available. And so you get to kind of shop each other's closets, um, as you're there. And that can be a really cool thing. Oh, thanks, Patricia. There's a Facebook group, Buy Nothing. Oh, I love it. So everybody keep an do a search for that on Facebook, Buy Nothing. And it's a really wonderful way to keep things out of the landfill, and also to, get something new if they've been taken care of. And then you'll find some really great things, um, in groups like that, and doing things like clothing swaps. It's just a really cool idea, and allows us to to not generate more waste, and also to not be a part of that, really kind of where people are being abused and taken advantage of because you know being paid low wages and things like that. I can't remember the documentary um, that I watched a few years ago, but an image really stuck with me. It was people in Bangladesh who were sewing clothing, and when their workday was over, they didn't go home. They had a pillow and a blanket underneath their sewing machine, and that's where they slept till they had to get up for their next shift because they were so underpaid, and some of them didn't have a place to go. Um, and it's just really awful. So that we could have, a $5 T-shirt or a $10 T-shirt. I did find a website, and they have an app too called Good for You, I think it is, and yeah, Good on You, Good on You, and you can search for sustainable products, sustainable jewelry and clothing. So if you do need to buy something new, you need something, you're not able to find it through one of these like repurposing groups or through a swap or at a secondhand shop, then you're able to buy something that will last a long time and is made by people who are paid fairly and made but with products like organic cotton or linen or hemp that isn't destroying the environment with the amount of water and pesticides and things like that are being used. So it is, and I found that some of the brands listed there are size inclusive. Many of them are vegan. I was disappointed to see that I found some wool products and a couple companies weren't labeled vegan, um, but so keep an eye out. Don't assume that everything on that site is vegan, but there are many, many vegan options on that site and um, within that sustainable movement. And just my final comment on this is that, and I'm not the only person that holds this opinion, because I used to have a T-shirt that said it on there. So you can't be an environmentalist and eat animals. You just can't. So if you truly, truly love Mother Earth and it is important to you to be a steward for her and to make sure that your time on this planet doesn't have a significant impact and that you're able to make a positive change, I encourage you to go vegan. Do your research, reach out to people like me, Patricia here, you can reach out to her too. And of course, on the stew on Wednesdays, everybody on there is always open to having conversations and helping people make that shift. So you are not alone. We are here for you. And we are happy to help you to make that change and have that impact that you want to have, and do the thing that can make the world a brighter, better place, and help the younger generations have a beautiful place to live. So I'm going to share some links. I do want to share, of course, things are still going on in the Ukraine. The war is still happening, and I've talked about this shelter before. So if you are able to, they continue to take in animals and they continue to take care of the animals that are, with them already. Um, but they need help. So if you are able to either donate money, or if you can share their posts and let people know how to donate, please. I've shared these links. Um, so go ahead and share them as you can. Um, and give this shelter some support. They're doing very important work, and they're still in the Ukraine, and people continue to drop off animals from their household pets, cats and dogs, to donkeys and horses and everything in between, and they are not they don't seem to be turning anybody away. So if you can help them out in any way, please do that. I'm also going to share a couple of links, one to the official Earth Day website. There's a ton of information there. You can take pledges, you can take quizzes to see how much you know about what your impact on the environment is. There's even a plastic use calculator, so you can figure out not just where you're at currently, but you can also see the impact based on how much you plan to reduce your plastic usage over the next year. It's really cool. I did it as well. And then I've got a link to my blogs and a link to if you want to schedule some time and do a free discovery call with me, there's a link for that as well. And I have a Veganize It class coming up on Sunday. So if you are considering veganism and you want some help, you need some direction, please definitely sign up. I'd love to see you there. We do it over Zoom. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. It's at 10:30 in the morning on Sunday, this coming Sunday. So there are those links coming through. Thank you so much for being here with me. This is a longer show, um, and I appreciate you hanging on. There's a lot to talk about. Earth Day comes once a year, but it really can be every single day. So choose vegan, go vegan, be vegan, however you want to say it. Um, Reach out if you need something, and let's do this. Let's make a difference in the world. Um, one meal, one choice, one decision at a time. I will see you next Monday. Thank you so much. Have an amazing week. Bye.